Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to go racing. First, we have the sprint qualifying, and we are at Austria today. We have 13 drivers for the sprint, and looks like Meso is the first one out and getting ready to put a sprint quali lap in. We do only have 12 minutes for sprint quali, and one of those minutes has already been used while everyone sorts out their setups. And Meso opting to qualify on the medium tire, so bit of a combination, bit of strategy going on because we do have two races today. So they'll do the sprint qualifying session and then jump into the sprint race, which is about a quarter length of the main race. They'll then proceed to the second quali for the feature race, and then they will be going into that. So a lot of things to consider for tyre strategy. Meso now about to start his first flying lap. It's a little over a minute of a hot lap around here, so be interesting to see what the boys can put down. Tyre choice may play a factor here. Meso now coming up to what is technically turn 3, although most drivers do consider it turn 2. The power's down, DRS is open, using a lot of that battery, and ETD is already out of the session, so he will start from last. A good chance that he's had a little bit of a bluey on the outlet there, unfortunately. Now into sector 3 for Meso, and what's he going to set the benchmark at? This track's super hard on track limits as well, so the drivers really have to watch their laps not getting invalidated, and he drains the battery and he's done a 1:05.1. It's a reasonable lap. Viper coming through now on his hot lap. He's just entered sector 3. Viper not using as much of the battery, and he's only been able to put a 110. MJ on the medium tires. So far, it's all the medium tire runners that have put laps in, and the benchmark is a 1:04.2. A little bit of a lock up there from Dart, and Taglio, first of the soft runners in that McLaren, and he's done a 1:04.9. Netsu and Combined are on out laps, and Netsu about to start a hot lap. Also got Sammy who is on a hot lap, and unfortunately, I think he has bailed out. He's encountered a bit of traffic, so he's had to pull out of that. Netsu now went onto that back straight, a little bit of wheel spin, a little more than what he would have liked. That might hurt his lap time a little bit. Whereas Zanetsu's car has been a little snappy coming out of these low-speed turns. Very possible he's got a super low downforce setup on. So far, the time to beat is a 1:04.2. And the next two is going to put himself in provisional 4. So combined is now on a hot lap, and so are the two Ferraris. Baker also just starting his hot lap. KB's on a hot lap, so everybody trying to get these laps in now. So Sammy's had a lap invalidated. Hopefully he'll be able to keep this one clean. And I think he's just exceeded the track limits there in sector 3. And this lap may not count. Nope, it would have been just on them because it has counted, and it's a 5 flat. Combine now coming through. And Combine will get himself a lap good enough for 6th place, 106.9. And that is McJammy, and he has put in a 3.9, fastest lap of the session. KB now coming through sector 3, and quite a bit of traffic interrupting these laps as well. And KB across the line. And KB has gone provisional P3 with a 4.9, and it's a very decent lap on those medium tyres. Zoolander and the Aston Martin now starting to come through sector 3. And he's got a Sauber ahead of him. And Sauber is actually going to get to the line first, and is almost out of battery, in fact. And that's GS who's going to come through, and if the lap's valid, see what he puts in, and it's good enough for 8th, and Zoolander's going to come across the line now, and Zoolander's going to go up to 7th, and that'll relegate GS down to 9th. And looks like final runs probably about to start commencing. We'll be about halfway through now. Again, a lot of traffic out there at the moment. We're trying to work out who's on laps and who's not. And Tiglio is in sector 3 of his out lap. He's about to start another hot lap. He's just charging that battery up and getting those tyres back up to temp. He is on a scrub set, so he'll have one more good lap out of these tyres. Just over 4 minutes remains in the session. And time to see what Tiglio can do. We'll jump on board. Start of his hot lap. 4.9 was his last lap. The car looks nice and settled, but is it pacey as well? A little bit of a lock of the inside tyre there. I don't think it's hurt him. He's going to use a lot of battery and his DRS, the drag reduction system. It's the slot gap in the rear wing. Really trying to push the limits. He's missed the apex there. That's going to hurt his lap. So it looks like they're having a little bit of trouble getting the car turned in sector 3. That'll compromise his lap time. It'll scrub his tyres, and not really what you want. Managed to stay within the bounds, and unfortunately, no improvement. Maso now's on a soft tyre run, and he's about to come across the line. And that lap was not valid. Looks like he has enough battery potentially for one more lap. So we'll see if he can get the valid lap in. And everybody coming out now. This with 2.5 minutes to go is the final shot that these guys will have to get their best laps in. KB not released from the pits yet, so maybe waiting for a gap, but he's got to get out soon. Looks like a lot of traffic checking up, so this is going to compromise a few laps. And in fact, I think Meso's lap did get compromised because of that. Meso gets knocked down to 7th, but we'll see what he can do on the soft tyre. Come through, he'll burn the rest of the battery. He'll come across that line. And Meso will go up to 4th with a 4.6. And between him and Zenitsu, they've actually managed to punt KB down to 5th, and KB now on his outlap. A lot of drivers will be looking at in-laps, and I think KB's done that tactically. KB just getting out of the way for hot lap traffic. Now, there is a risk here that this hot lap traffic may, in fact, as Meowsy McJammy Dodge sets a 3.5. There is a good chance that this in-lap traffic could actually obstruct the guys that are about to launch hot laps. See what happens. KB on provisional P5 at the moment. Zenitsu has finished his qualifying. He'll take no further part. Provisionally in P3. Same with Tiglio, who's provisionally P7 at the moment and dropping down. And it looks like Combine trying to save his soft tyre, so he might be running a soft tyre in the race. And Combine has obviously invalidated his lap and retired. Meso's also retired. He thinks he's done enough. And KB right now is actually towing MJ. Baker's also out, but I think Baker's actually had a crash. He was in the middle of a hot lap run. All right, we'll see what KB can put across, and I think MJ's bailed out. Yep, MJ's bailed out of the lap. And KB will go across the line, and he'll go up to P4. So as things stand, row 1 is Meowsy and MJ. Row 2 is Sammy and KB. Row 3 is Zenitsu and Dart. Row 4 is Mason and Combined. Row 5 is Tiglio and Zoolander. Row 6 has Baker and GS. And row 7 has Viper and ETD. As MJ's car just rolled back into the garage there. And that is everyone done. So, very interesting starting grid. And in 30 seconds, we will head to the sprint race where the lads will get their tyre strategy sorted. But the cars are now under Parc Fermé as well, so they cannot change anything from the setup from the moment that they started the quali. So it'll pretty much just be a case of selecting the tyres that they're going to put themselves on and going racing. Cars are lined up on the start grid. We are waiting for the lighting sequence to commence. All right, here we go. 5 red lights coming to life. We are away racing for the sprint race in Austria. And it looks like pretty much everybody has chosen the medium tyre. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1, and it's Viper and ETD involved, so there'll probably be a bit of stewarding looked into for that. Meanwhile, back at the top end of town, everybody tries to negotiate 3, and Zoolander's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. So that's going to be added to his race time. Not a very high chance of stops here. This sprint race is 12 laps and about pure pace. This is only going to take about 15 minutes. This race, somebody goes wide in the background. I think that was Zenitsu. The top 6 seem to have held their positions as well. Mialzi is already cleared a second, so he's out of DRS range. And provisional fastest lap is a 108.3. That is from a standing start, so expect that to come down next lap. As Sammy is right behind MJ, and so is KB and Zenitsu respectively behind them. Combined, sorry, makes a move on Dark. Head into the first DRS zone, and we've got another incident in Sector 1, and it's ETD again. He's had to flick that car around, so there's got to be a bit of damage to that car. Mason and Baker in the background, and GS. So these 4 all jostling for position. And Meso has now been given a 3-second time penalty for curb hopping. So expect to see a fair few penalties in the feature race, and that's probably going to affect the outcome. And a 105.6 is now the fastest lap as Mialzi crosses the start-finish line for the first flying lap. Nobody really having the pace on Mialzi at the moment, at least in a straight-up fight. So tyre strategy is going to be a huge thing in the feature race. We have virtually a 6-7 car DRS train at the moment in this middle group. Very, very hard to overtake here at Austria. There are 3 DRS zones where that rear wing will come open, and it will pretty much neutralize the attack. So moves are going to have to be made in Sector 3 for people who are neutralizing each other with the DRS. MJ's got a bit of a hard job and a little bit of oversteer there, and that looks like possibly Dark will combine coming off in the background there. And MJ really struggling with oversteer. And Sammy's going to go make a move. And KB and MJ gets absolutely swamped as they come up to 3. Oh, little bit of a snap there with KB. He's going to have to fall in and not really able to take advantage there, unfortunately. He's just got to keep the pressure on him, but Sammy is trying to extend that gap on MJ before they reach the next zone. And Tiglio now with a 3-second time penalty. So a fair few time penalties, and this is just the sprint. They get 2 curb strikes and then it's a penalty. So they've used 3 curb strikes inside of 4 laps. And Sammy now with the fastest lap of 5.4. Sammy really trying to catch up to his teammate. This could very well break the DRS train. No, at the detection point, KB is going to be just inside this, so this will bring everybody back together. Tiglio and Meso jostling jostling for position as they come up to 3. And looks like Tiglio's got the better of Meso. And looks like, in fact, he's actually got the DRS. So it means Meso would have been ahead at the detection point. And it looks like MJ has gotten that place back. Are looking very snappy, so that's another thing he's going to have to watch. And looks like Viper is in the pit, so something's gone wrong there. And he's probably now going to have to target fast slap. He's still in the pit, they're about to put a lap on him. Going to a fresh set of mediums. And in fact, I reckon if we go to... Yep, there is Meowsy coming up on him. And Baker's got a 3-second time penalty, and we've got a caution in sector 3. And that's Baker around. Baker's going to have to get moving, or we're going to have a safety car. Looks like he's got it rolling. The caution's all over the track at the moment. And thankfully no safety car. And now we've got one in sector 1. Yeah, so something's not quite right with Baker's car, unfortunately. Looks like he's actually clocked the barrier on that one. So he'll probably have to come in, and that will definitely put him a lap down. Meanwhile, with this battle group, as we're just over halfway through, and looks like KB is going to try and get 2 places. They're going to split him. Meso with a 3-second penalty, and big contact between the teammates. That could put Zenitsu out of this. He may need a front wing replacement. We'll stay on board and have a look. As looks like Combine is going to go down the inside in that Alpine, and Zenitsu just can't get it turned in. Yeah, Zenitsu is struggling. I think there's significant damage to that front wing. And it's a 10-second time penalty for Baker for speeding in the pit lane. And yeah, Zenitsu is going to have to come in, and Baker's out of the race. So KB up to P2. Now he's got to defend. This is a super hard track to defend on as well. Oh, that's a big spin for Sammy. He's kept it out of the wall, but he's lost a lot of places there. I don't think there was any contact with KB. I think he's lost it by himself. And KB now going hunting. So KB got an absolute reprieve. But MJ's right up alongside him. KB shuts the door. But KB's battery is on charge, so it is really going to depend on how much battery MJ has. But at this point, MJ is probably going to wait till the DRS zone. Has a look. I think he's just trying to fill KB's mirrors at the moment. Now KB's going to defend. And it looks like MJ's not had a great exit off of that turn. In fact, I think he might actually become vulnerable to Combine here, even with them both on DRS. And we've got a caution in sector 2, which we've just entered, so we're probably about to see what's happened. As KB is on maximum defend right now. MJ's going to try and slide down the inside. Can KB hold on? KB's going to try and hold it around the outsides. That Sammy's got him back past Zenitsu. KB right now all over the back of MJ. He's just charging that battery as well. So if he can stay behind him and keep that battery charged, and Zoolander has gone into the pits. In fact, he's switching over to the soft tyre. KB's going to open the rear wing here. Laps are counting down, so KB's got to time this. Going to lead MJ, having an MJ, a big snap over overset. This is where KB needs to take advantage. DRS wide open. Nothing going there. He's all over the gearbox of MJ right now. This is the long one. This is where KB needs to drain the battery. He's going to pull out. He's got the battery wide open as well, and he's going to take the place. Oh, and big contact there between MJ and Combine comes out worse off. Combine losing about 2-3 places there. We've got a yellow in sector 3 now. Looks like it's another problem for ETD. KB versus McJammy. KB's tires are actually in a better state, so that could be potentially problematic in the feature race, because remember, they do have a limited allocation of tires. Now KB's going to have to defend. Ideally, he'll keep his place this lap. With Austria being a short track with 3 DRS zones, it does make it very, very difficult. And KB, in fact, is actually potentially going to lose 2 places here. Nope, he's going to try and hold on around the outside. Oh! And that Sammy shot off onto the dirt. And a real tussle right now between KB and MJ. And Sammy's got a 3-second time penalty. Makes those out of the race. It'll just be a local. There'll be no safety car at this point. The race does not finish under safety car. So KB's going to have to defend super, super hard as they come roaring down. And actually, this might work out better for KB. They're going to come onto the final lap. KB's going to have the DRS. If he can play this smart, he'll get 2 helpings of it. KB, DRS wide open. He's going to have one more shot. He won't be able to get him into the braking zone here. Unfortunately, he had to defend against the Netsu, who's really trying to attack. A little bit of a wheel bump there with MJ, and that's probably hurt him, and that might have taken away any chance KB has of a second place. McJammy, of course, has buggered off into the distance. He's got a 7-second lead as we have a caution in sector 2. Looks like someone's gone off in the background. KB on maximum attack right now. He's going to drain the battery. He's got a very limited time to get that second place back. And it looks like MJ's out of battery. And KB's still coming on strong. That's why he was saving the battery. He's got one more crack at it. And that's McJammy over the line. KB, big snap. Almost lost it in the final turn there, but he'll get P3. And a very, very tight finish amongst the top 6 there. Now, Dart's going to come across the line, but he does have a time penalty. So the order will sort itself out. And it looks like now that time penalty has sorted itself, and so there'll be no repercussions for Dark, but it has definitely changed things up. And ETD, last driver across the line, and that is the sprint race done. We're about to head into main race quali. And we could be in for quite the spicy feature race. So sprint race winner is McJammy. We'll see what happens in the feature race. We do have qualifying for that coming up right now. Right, and it looks like Viper is actually going to be the first out on track. This qualifying session will be an 18-minute session. We're obviously a minute and a bit into it as we have about 16 and a half minutes remaining. Cars starting to release from the pit, so they'll get about 3 runs through this session. But given that we've also had the sprint race, there is a good chance that a lot of drivers will actually be on scrub tyres. Oh, and that's a no-no. That's naughty. Not allowed to use wet tyres when it has not been declared a wet race. Yeah, that's against the rules, and that is going to result in a penalty. The stewards will definitely be looking into that later, I can guarantee you. So it looks like most people opting to use fresh soft tyres. We got KB and Taglio out on the medium tyres. And again, this is where the strategy comes in, and ETD with a 5.3, which is a very respectable lap. KB on the mediums looks like entering sector 3 now. In fact, I think he's actually bailed out of the lap. So he may have invalidated this one. We'll see when he gets across the line. Well, if he hadn't invalidated it before, he's definitely done it now. Yeah, it was invalidated, but on board with KB. We'll see what he can do this time around. And Zoolander now with provisional pole with a 1:05.1. So the Astons are at the top of the timing sheet. Looks like Mace's had a bit of an issue on his first hot lap, because he's put in a 1:17. And Zenitsu now with a 1:04.2 on provisional pole. So expect to see these lap times get a bit quicker. And KB maybe just testing out the conditions because he's not using a lot of battery. As he goes past the McLaren of Tiglio there. So something's definitely up. Oh, it looks like he invalidated. So track limits biting hard because that's 2 for 2 that have been invalidated. Sammy, meanwhile, about to hopefully put in his first valid lap of the session. Oh, so everybody's struggling to get valid laps in. Piper now on the correct set of tyres. And he'll put a 108.5 in. And I would say that Tiglio's bailed out. I think he's exceeded the track limits. So yeah, track limits biting very hard here. And KB will go through and put a 6.4 in, first valid banker lap. And that'll be the extent of what those tyres can also do as well. You'll get about 3 good hot laps on the on the tyres before you have to bring it in and change over. As far as qualifying goes, anyway. As Sammy is going to cross the line now, and it's a 4-1. So provisional pole is now with Sammy. Still just over half the field yet to put valid laps in. So track limits are definitely biting hard here. MJ has just started his first hot lap. Heads up toward turn 3. And MJ really using that battery up. And looks like Baker has had a connection issue. Hopefully he'll be back with us. And MJ actually looking pretty rapid. I think he's going to pip Sammy's time. He'll definitely need to get into the 3s here. We've got about 10 minutes remaining in the session, so roughly halfway through. MJ will go across the line and he'll do a 4 flat. So qualifying here for the main race is going to be tight. And I rather suspect that KB should be coming in this lap, or no? Yep, he is. No, he's staying out. He wants to get another lap on these tyres. So we'll stay on board, see what he can do. Currently P7 and quali, and the only runner still on medium tyres. And looks like we've got a Haas spun, and I think that might be Dart. No, sorry, it's Mesa that's... Yep, it's Mesa that's spun. He's in a bit of an awkward position there as well. And he'll get going, but that's going to take a little bit of time to fix that front wing of his, unfortunately, so he may be out for a little bit. Looks like he's just lost it at the bump in the curb on turn 1, and it's a very vicious bump. Having raced here for many thousands of laps myself, I can tell you that in these Formula cars, very easy to lose it there. What's probably happened is he's probably lost the back end coming through there, unfortunately. We're on board with Tiglio, another driver yet to put a lap time in, and he is on the soft tyre, and looks like the lap is good so far, as he's really using that battery up. Oh, and it definitely won't be good now. Yep, the lap is not valid. So a couple of drivers still struggling to get valid laps in. As Zoolander on his second lap on the set, and MJ Roller has gone faster. He's done a 3.9, and it's the first 3 of the session. Now, what can Zoolander put in? The track is definitely quickening up as that rubber gets laid down. And Zoolander will put in a 4.9 and go 5th fastest. Oh no, that's KB in the dirt. So something's gone terribly wrong there, and he will probably have to bring that to the lane. Thankfully, the front wing is intact, but there is a lot of dirt and debris all over that car. And if he's damaged the underfloor, that could be the end of quality for him, unfortunately. Now, McJammy, the winner of the sprint race, on his first flying lap, he's left it a bit late. 7 minutes left. He might be able to get 2 good runs in. He's definitely going to encounter some traffic here, though. And Sammy with the 3.8, so Sammy really setting that bar. I think that's the 3rd set of tyres that Sammy's actually used this session as well. And it looks like Sammy is going to come across GS, who has gone out of the way, but it's definitely going to have been an obstruction. And it is a 3.5 still for McJammy. So Sammy and MJ have got a little bit of catching up to do. Oh, ATD getting real close to losing it there. He's definitely pushing on the limit. Big slide out of 3 for him. Comes through sector 3. And there is a little bit of traffic in the way as well. Hopefully he'll not encounter it. Oh, and that'll be invalid, unfortunately. And you can see because he's bailed out of it. That was looking like a good lap. So expect to see quite a few cars leaving the lane shortly. As Meso now, provided that the lap is valid, and it looks like he is because he's still using the battery. So cars will be coming out very shortly. In fact, MJ's already come out for his final run. And Mason's kept it inside the track limits this time. And he'll go up to P5 and has moved his teammate down to P6 with a 4.4. And Meso has called it. He thinks that's the best he can do. Viper now. His best valid lap is a 108.4. Can he improve on it? And he's bailed out of the lap. So a bit of a struggle. KB's just slapped on a new set of softs, so expect to see him out rather shortly. MJ on what will probably be his final hot burst session. In fact, it will be. He doesn't have enough time to actually get the tyres and everything changed up. We'll see what he can do. He's got enough time for 2 hot laps, provided he's got the fuel. So far, it looks like a rather unobstructed lap. He keeps it inside the track limits, and he'll go across the line, and it's enough for P2. And looks like Viper is on what will probably be his final push lap. I don't think he's got enough time to actually charge the battery again for another one. And in fact, I suspect that is what's forced his hand. Viper not having the best qualifying session at the moment, but if he can keep it inside the track limits, this should be a pretty good lap. Oh, and he's just getting struck at that final turn. So really struggling with that. That could have been a really good lap. And in fact, he's out of fuel now, so that will be it for him. And looks like Baker is not going to set a lap. Now Contiglio keep it inside the track limits. And he can. And so this will be a valid lap. And that'll put him up to P6, so a very decent lap. KB coming through Sector 3 now. And in fact, I think that might be McJammy that he's ahead of. One of the Ferraris, and I think that Ferrari is bailed out of the lap. I have. KB's got currently set 11th with a 6-0, but is on fresh softs. He's going to have one lap to put in the best lap that he can. And it'll be very interesting to see what he can get done. And Dart's finished his session. He reckons he's done the best he can with a 4.8. Very tight inside the top 10. And McJammy with a 3-3, really trying to secure a pole. What can KB put on? He's going to have to use full everything now. He's still in fact got half the battery left. He'll burn that. Keeps it valid that Ferrari has gone off, so they'll take no further part. And KB will qualify fifth. And that is everybody across the line. So row 1 for the race will be McJammy and MJ. Row 2 is going to be Sammy and Zenitsu. Row 3 has KB and Meso. Row 4 has Combine and Tiglio. Row 5 has Dark and Zoolander. Row 6 is ETD and GS. Row 7 is Viper and Baker. And row 8 is Data. Now, this is where the strat's going to come into it. The cloud's looking a little grey, so there is the potential for weather here. This is where things are going to get interesting. Definitely going to be at least one pit stop because they have to use 2 different compounds of tyre. Potentially a 2-stop race as well. Now, hopefully everybody can be just a little bit sensible going into T1 and we don't have a lap 1 safety car. All right, and the 5 red lights coming to light. And we're away racing. It looks like they're 3 wide for positions 3, 4, 5. And looks like KB's had to go wide off the track there. But everybody has survived. Tiglio has lost a couple of places. KB's lost a couple of places. The 2 Williams are in 2nd and 3rd. And it looks like Sammy trying to get down the inside and it's compromised and he's going to lose the place. A little bit of banging and shoving in the background and looks like Data on the hard tyres up to P11. He's gained 4 spots off the start. And it's absolute chaos and something's happened. Meso's had an issue. Looks like he might have just spun. There's no damage, but we do have a yellow flag. And that's GS off the track. Sorry, no, it's not GS. It was Zoolander off the track. So getting very feisty. MJ trying to stay with McJammy here. And McJammy not going to be able to get out of the DRS this time. DRS is now enabled. Massive battle train. And Meso's out. Meso's out of the race. I think he's actually crashed in Sector 3. McJammy's lost the place. Tiglio's had an issue as well. And looks like he's actually managed to get back past Dark. And Combine and Dark have actually done down the straight there. Lots of places up and down the field changing. But right now, this battle group looking rather feisty. KB, Zenitsu, and Sammy. Yeah, potentially a 2-stop strat here. MJ now with the fastest lap and the lead of the race. KB having a real crack on at the moment. And McJammy's actually managed to put that move on MJ. And looks like Sammy trying to have a crack. And KB was trying to have a crack around the outside of Sammy, so it's definitely going to get feisty. And just back here with Combine and Dark. And Dark going to try and go all the way around the outside. and just does not get the drive off the turn that he needed. So far, everybody appearing to be rather well behaved as we take a look at the battle between Tiglio, Zoolander, and GS, and looks like Zoolander trying to go for a move. McJammy now with the fastest lap of the race. And Zoolander's gonna stick it down the inside. It's a good move, and there's a bit of debris. And I think, yes, that was from GS's car. So he's lost an end plate and all of that. That's going to compromise his turn-in. Dana's moving through the field really at ease at this point. And it's a 3-second time penalty for Viper for corner cutting. And KB just trying to stick with Zenitsu and Sammy at the moment. MJ back into the lead of the race. And Zoolander now, so penalties starting to come in. And early, 5 laps into this 36-lap race. Now Zenitsu's going to have to really defend here. He sticks it to the middle of the track. KB in the background waiting to pounce. KB's going to try and go with Sammy. Sammy's been able to get through. And in fact, KB's going to go deep on the brakes. And he's going to try and get Zenitsu. He is shallow. Might compromise his exit speed. But I think, and he's got the job done. So he's actually managed to leapfrog and put himself in the ideal place to grab both places. Meanwhile, back at the top end of town, MJ all over the back of McJammy. And he'll get the DRS here. Now, will he be able to send it? Not likely into turn 1. I don't think he's close enough, and he's low on battery as well. We'll get another helping of DRS down the second of the 3 straights that we have here at Austria. And he's just going to drive right past McJammy. And McJammy's not even going to fight it. He's just going to seed it. And McJammy is going to take DRS combined, and Dark jostling over position here. This is going to come down to who gets a good run down the straight. DRS will play a factor, and it's combined that has the DRS, and he'll go sailing past Dark and secure that position. Meanwhile, back in the battle for 3rd place, and KV looks to be just falling off the pace a little bit. So I think he may have started on slightly used tyres. At least they've had that sheen taken off them. The drivers can't push the tyres as hard here either. I tell you what, if we do get a safety car, expect to see a plethora of cars through the pits. And KB has actually closed that gap. He is back up on Sammy now. Oh, looks like we've got another piece of debris. And that is off Combine's car. As the 2 Alpines are jostling for position. And it has actually resolved itself in favour of Data. And the high tyres will be starting to come in now as well. and Dark and Data both receiving 3-second time penalties. Combined opted to go into the pits. So first driver in, we'll check what tyres he goes to. More than likely the hard tyre. And we'll see how the undercut works. GS also in. Combined is getting their front wing replaced as well. And they'll drop him. And he'll go. And he'll actually be in a bit of clean air here, so this will probably help. And meanwhile, KB has actually elevated himself up to P3. As he goes through Sector 3. And this is where the battle is going to get a little bit feisty as we head down that main straight DRS zone, but I don't think Sammy's actually really close enough to realistically challenge even with the help of the DRS. Oh, and something's happened in Sector 3, and it looks like we do have an issue. So no safety car. And in fact, if we got in a safety car, then that actually would have really hurt GS and Combined. And Dark is also in the pits now as well, as KB trying to defend into 3. Little bit of a lock up there from Zenitsu. And KB gets a little squirrely at the exit. That might have cost him, but he's actually able to defend it really well. As the leader's coming through Sector 3 now, is Dark going to be able to get out before the leaders come around? And he has managed to, very thankfully for him. Everyone keeping it quite clean, but I do expect we will most likely see a safety car, and it will probably be from driver error more than actually a collision between cars, as KB has managed to extend that gap at least enough that he's not going to have to worry about defending. Dark now with a 3-second time penalty, and that'll be for curb hopping. So lots of penalties starting to come into play. We just take a look at the penalties. So Dark currently sitting actually on 6 seconds of penalties, and Zoolander, Viper, and Data all sitting on 3 seconds. So at the moment, Dark is still running a net P14. And it looks like something's happened in Sector 1. Oh! And that's Dark, who's actually had a spin. Oh, that's a really unsafe rejoin. As he almost got absolutely clobbered by, I believe it was Baker. That could have been absolutely disastrous. Back at the top end of town, MJ's going to have to really defend against McJammy. I think he might be able to get it done. So McJammy not really able to put a move on. And KB almost getting out of DRS range of Sammy. It's out to 7 tenths. If he can gain 3-4 tenths in this Sector 3 before the detection point, it'll be hard to do, but if he can get it done, then he will be outside of the DRS zone. We've got another issue in Sector 3, and in fact, and it looks like, in fact, I think Dark and Baker have got in together. And in fact, here come the leaders, so we're about to see some blue flags. And ETD now with a 3-second time penalty. So in fact, 6, 7, 8 have all actually neutralized each other, as McJammy will cede the position. MJ will cede the position to McJammy there. And in fact, I think McJammy will get the DRS, and that could be potentially problematic. No, he won't. He must have been ahead just at the detection point. This late traffic is about to play a factor as KB manages to get back up to third, taking the position from Sammy. And still the majority of the field yet to pit as we have a caution in Sector 2, and I think that might just be for blue flags, and it is. So Baker going a lap down. Oh, we got a VSC. So this could trigger some activity in the pits, and unfortunately McJammy and MJ were well past, and KB's in, Sammy's in, Zenetsu's in. So this is going to be a battle of the pit crews now. They all come in. And Data also in, and that's a really good stop from KB. It was picture perfect. And in fact, Zenetsu's actually lost time in the pits. So it's a horrible stop for Zenetsu. It's really cost him. He's actually lost 3 places in the pits. But the question is, can McJammy and MJ get around and get their pit stops done before we go back to green flag racing? Because they're the two that are going to be hurt the worst out of this. Because they were right on top of the pit lane when the VSC came out. They'll probably get in time. It's the question of, will we go back to green flag racing before their stops are done? It is definitely going to be a pit crew battle between these two as well. They're both in. And ETD's got to drive through for speeding under the VSC. So he'll not be able to serve that till we go back to green. McJammy's in. It's a reasonable stop. But we're back to green flag racing. They're going to lose a lot of time here. Because they're still not left the pits. Dark's retired. And in fact, KB has brought that gap down to MJ to about 2.5 seconds. And the difference is they're on warm tyres. MJ and McJammy still have to warm their tyres up. As we've got a caution in Sector 3 now as well, and that'll probably be for Dark's car. And it looks like it is safely off the track. So there'll be no need for a full course caution. And KB not even going to fight it. He's more focused on catching back up. And in fact, MJ's had a horrible time getting these tyres up to temperature because he's lost a lot of time to McJammy. But the big winners right now are actually KB and Sammy from that VSC. They were able to send it straight into the pits. They've really reduced this gap to the leaders, and they might be able to get to the end of the race on this hard compound tyre. And at this point, I think they're actually slingshotting each other to catch up to MJ, and it's working. That's the other thing. It is working. I think actually KB has a lower aero setup than Sammy, because Sammy actually not really able to do a lot down that back straight. It's KB really pushing through these turns, really trying to catch up. Gap's only 2 seconds to Sammy. And Sammy's now got a 3-second time penalty. So that puts actually KB in a net second place. As long as KB can, at the very least, keep himself within the 3 seconds. And KB actually fastest lap of the race now with a 5.9. Oh, that was a little dicey. And they got away with it, but that could have been... Oh, no, sorry. It wasn't MJ with the penalty. Oh, and someone's come off. And that looks like GS has come off. And it is, because he's actually lost the place to Baker. Sorry, it wasn't MJ with the penalty. It was Sammy behind KB. As Big Jammy does a faster 5.9, so 5.90 versus a 5.91. And KB just not able to pip that. The lead two is starting to actually pull away again. But this is going to get a little bit feisty. As Sammy going to go straight past KB, but with Sammy having that 3-second time penalty, KB's not going to really be too concerned at this point. And as this 3-car battle well, rather the 2-car battle has turned into a 3-car battle. No, I stand corrected. There was actually a back marker there. So Zenitsu and Data fighting, and Zenitsu really trying to defend it. Actually, Zenitsu getting a better drive out of the turns in Sector 3. So that's rather interesting. But Data's still within half a second, and Data's actually on the medium tyre. I think Data's going to have to come in again, because I don't see those mediums lasting what's going to effectively be the 22 laps that they need to last. And Tiglio's actually back in the pits, so there's something else wrong with the McLaren. And KB's still on the back of Sammy, and I think KB just holding station while it suits him. There is a 7-second gap back to Zenitsu. As these two fight over a bit of real estate for 5th place currently. And that's Viper with a 3-second time penalty for curb hopping. I believe that may in fact actually be his 3rd penalty for that offence. No, it is his 2nd. So he is going to have to watch those penalties. And the Nets is actually doing a rather good job of holding him off, and to be fair, and Baker's back in the pits as well. Those mediums are going to become an issue. I think Data's hand was forced with having to pit under that VSC. So, potential problem for Data. And in fact, KB has got him back past Zenitsu, as it looks like Baker getting the blue flags. KB getting a bit of a slingshot from Baker there. But Sammy has actually managed to retake the position on KB, and KB just taking the chance to charge the battery. He's still in DRS range, and Sammy does have that 3-second time penalty. As long as KB can keep it clean and not get a penalty himself, he'll be all right. As we are now entering lap 21 of 36. and just a little bit of field spread starting to happen. And in fact, Zenitsu, and this is where I said about those medium tyres going off, because Zenitsu's managed to pull that gap to a second and a half. Although Data will be getting the DRS from the blue flag McLaren of Tiglio. And in fact, Data's got a bit of a problem here because he's got Tiglio in front of him, but Tiglio's getting the DRS from Zenitsu. So Data's not actually able to make any ground to actually be able to mount an attack here. And as the laps tick down, and Tiglio trying to unlap himself, in fact, in that was not the right way to do it. And Tiglio has got a 10-second time penalty for ignoring blue flags. So, and that won't actually be to do with him trying to unlap himself from Zenitsu. What that'll be is for not actually yielding to Data. So that's where the penalty will be from. And in fact, he's still not yielding, so this could actually result in a disqualification as Viper is back in the pits again, so he's still having trouble. So the V-Carb's not having the best day here at Austria. And yeah, there it is. It's another 10-second time penalty. So that's pretty much going to be curtains for Tiglio. By my count, that's about 26 seconds of penalties. Yeah, it's 20 seconds of penalties now. So he's gonna have to really work this out and just cede the position and let these guys actually get on with it. You know, in GT racing, this is fine, but it's and that's Sammy with another 3-second time penalty. So that's an insurance policy for KB now. But yeah, and Tiglio, he's still getting the blue flag. He's not ceding. So this is potentially a problem. And yeah, in fact, he's still not, and this is really obstructing actually 5th and 6th. Yeah, so you got to, and that's now 40 seconds of penalties. It's not going to be long before he gets disqualified. In fact, if he actually doesn't stop doing this, he's going to get disqualified. He'll get one more blue flag warning, and then he'll get disqualified. So we'll see what happens. Because he gets the DRS here, and then he, like, I mean, as a race car driver, where I am the position, I would just pull out of the way and let these guys get on with it. At least in Formula racing, like obviously GT racing, and there it is. That's 50 seconds. So I mean, it's basically curtains now because he's going to be finishing last regardless. But this is just a bit of amateur hour, really. He needs to get out of the way of these guys. And of course, the league stewards will take a very dim view on this because it really is obstructing what was a really good battle. And unfortunately, there's Data with another 3-second time penalty. And actually, GS has gotten one as well. But yeah, this is just it's very poor form from Tiglio. I mean, you know, when you're let down and you're not really in the fight, you need to give it up to the guys that are in the fight. And yeah, I think the stewards will be having a bit of a word with them after this. It's it's just, I mean, like you look there and there's, you know, the seated position, and that's 60 seconds of penalties. So next penalty should be disqualification. And that'll be the sim disqualifying him as well. Because yeah, this is just a bit of, it's really just, it's poor form. You know, like these guys up front, you know, they're trying to get on with it, and you know, they've got a blue flag car refusing to cede position, getting in the way. Rather unfortunate, because the problem for Zenitsu is he can't get on with it and actually try and hunt down KB, and it's just really not on, unfortunately. And there we go. He's disqualified from the session, and I dare say the stewards will be having a word with him after the race as well. So now these guys can at least get on with it. And yeah. And in fact, they'll actually be able to resume what was a really good battle. And speaking of good battles, KB is back up on Sammy, so now KB is probably going to be a bit smart. It looks like he's charging the battery, because he also knows that Sammy's got 6 seconds of penalties. So, and if Zenitsu can actually make up about 3 or 4 seconds and keep it clean, then Zenitsu will actually be able to grab P4. Oh, unfortunate for Zenitsu, but it has brought this battle right back into the limelight, because this is now situation neutral, I believe. Oh, no, sorry. Data has actually got 3 more seconds and time penalties. So it's not quite situation neutral. And as we've actually got yellows in Sector 1, and also whatever it was has been cleared. As we're on board with McJammy, he's got a nice, comfortable 6-second lead. Meanwhile, back with KB, trying to get the better of Sammy, and this will all be for pride, but KB's going to do it smart. As much as he does want to beat him on the track, he is going to be smart, because it is 6 seconds and time penalties as we enter lap 28 that Sammy has. So KB very comfortably will be effectively 3rd place. And we've got a caution in Sector 2. And I believe... Oh, and I called it. Data into the pits. Now, is it mediums? And it looks like it's another set of mediums, but it has forced the 2-stop. The Data's probably going to try and go for fastest lap here. And that's basically him bailed out. So Zenitsu, he does have a tough job to do. He does actually have to make up about 6 seconds. No, sorry, about 8 seconds to be comfortably in range of Sammy. And KB, speaking of Sammy, has managed to get back past him. So these two having a real cracker fight at the moment. The one advantage that Data does have is he is still on the lead lap. And he is on the softer, faster, fresher compound, as Sammy has a little bit of a wobble, and looks like Viper's going to try on the soft tire for fastest lap. And Sammy will go back past KB, and there's the detection point, and KB will try and slip underneath him. And he has. And they're going to hit turn 4, and KB straight through, and actually a little bit of a lock up there from Sammy. As Sammy tries to fight back. They head through 4, into 5, and KB has the preferred line, or at least he blocks the apex. These two wheel to wheel. KB doesn't actually need to do a lot, and I think, yeah, and KB has done the smart thing. He's actually seeded the place, because he knows that, 1, he's about to have a DRS zone come up, And 2, Sammy has a 6-second time penalty, so he'll get third place regardless. He's just got to stay on Sammy. He does not need to do anything silly at this point of the race, as we are now on lap 30 and have 7 laps left. And KB's going to go for the move into 1, and it's a nice clean move. And KB's actually got in a time penalty, but he does still have a 3-second insurance policy, and this is what I meant. KB doesn't need to do anything silly. I think that time penalty will just remind him, like, hey, you know, Sammy's got 3 more seconds in time penalty, so we can just stay behind him and be nice and cool and calm and collected and actually just get the 3rd place on penalties. And in fact, speaking of fresh tyres and Data has now bought this gap to Combine, and that's another 3-second time penalty for Viper in the background. But Data has bought this gap to Combine down to under 5 seconds now. So Combine at this point trying to hold on for dear life, as long as Combine can not lose. So for Combine, he's got to not lose more than a 1.5 seconds lap, because don't forget, Data's also got a time penalty. So Data's actually got to work really hard, and Sammy gets another 3-second time penalty, so it's 6 seconds now. And KB can relax a little bit more. But yeah, Data's actually got to get past Combine, and then he's also got to put a gap on him. So Combine, if he can just manage the gap to Data, will still be able to finish probably a net 6. I don't think really anybody has enough penalties for it to actually bump him past the net or Sammy. I mean, Sammy does have 9 seconds, but it's 9 seconds in itself back to Zenitsu. In fact, if Zenitsu can actually gain another 3 seconds, he'll actually take that place from Sammy as well. So everything getting rather interesting at the back end of this race. And whilst KB and Sammy fight, it's actually bringing Zenitsu back into this. So I think Zenitsu is actually going to be laughing a bit, because Sammy's on 9 seconds of penalties, I believe. And he is. And Zenitsu's only on 3. So Zenitsu needs to finish. He needs to gain about another 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. So this is going to be a very interesting finish, and especially we're on lap 32. KB's actually defending against him, even though he doesn't particularly have to, but I think also KB trying to bring his mate Zenitsu back into this, and Zenitsu will be loving this right now. You know, he's in clean air, he's not really fighting anyone. You know, his tyres are at about the same life as most of the hard runners, and he's actually gaining on these guys. So he's in a potentially very good position, especially if Sammy gets another penalty. If Sammy gets another penalty, he's going to lose that place to Zenitsu. And also, I've just noticed that Combine has been on those hard tyres for 24 laps, so he's doing a fantastic job of managing them, especially considering how close Data's actually getting. Now, we'll stick with this because I do think the Data's going to catch up to him. Now, the big question here is, how hard is Combine going to fight? How much life is left in these tyres? But Combine, one talent of his is absolutely looking after tyres the most, and actually Zoolander's in the pits now, so potentially lost the front wing, or potentially going for fastest lap. And that looks like a set of red ringed rubber, and it is. There's nothing wrong with the mechanics of the car, so he's going for fastest lap, which is not a bad idea considering the circumstance. Meanwhile, it looks like Data is actually up on Combine now. Now, how hard can Combine defend this? Because the longer he can defend, the tougher it is going to be for Data to actually be able to get the gap out that he needs. So, Combine really needs to get on with this. He needs to get past that detection point before Data gets within a second. And, you know, it looks like he can. We are approaching it now. And that was the detection point. So Data will not have the DRS. Not down this straight anyway. He will have it down the next straight, however. And these two are teammates. That's why I asked the question, how hard is he going to defend it? Data not close enough down that second straight, but down this back straight will probably be a different story, and we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1, but I suspect that may just be for Blues. And Combine is going to take the outside, and actually, in fact, he's not really offered up much of a defense. I think he's just going to try and stick with them in the DRS, because to be fair, we are approaching the penultimate lap, and in fact, the leaders are actually on it. As we get more yellows in Sector 1. And so just to give an idea of how the situation stands right now, actually, and I can see why Combine hasn't defended, because he doesn't need to. Because Data's actually got 6 seconds in penalties now. So this is where it's going to get feisty, because we are about to approach the final lap of the race. We are in Sector 3 on the penultimate lap. And Sammy's back in front of KB. Now, at this point, I think KB just needs to stay with Sammy. He doesn't really actually even need to attack him. And in fact, I wouldn't in KB's position. You know, he's got to play it smart and realize, you know, Sammy's got, 9 seconds of penalties. He's got 3. There's no way that Sammy's going to pull a, there's no way Sammy's going to pull a 6-second gap in the final lap of the race. So KB just needs to stay with him. Especially when we're doing about 1 minute 5, 1 minute 6 at this point with the tyre life. KB doesn't really need to do a lot here, and he'll get the podium. So KB just needs to be cool. Ooh, Sammy with a big lock up into 3, though. So, yeah, KB just needs to keep his wits about him. And in fact, I don't think KB's even going to try and attack him. He fainted. He painted him. And in fact, he'll go right around him because Sammy's actually locked up. But can he pull it off? And it's going to be tough for Zenitsu. McJammy's won the race. Oh, and in fact, this is going to be really tight if Zenitsu can pick it up. If Zenitsu can pick up the pace, he'll get past Sammy. Oh, I don't think Zenitsu realized the situation. I don't think Zenitsu actually realized how close he was to Sammy, because he backed off in the last sector. And Combine will finish in front. And that is Austria finished, as we just have Zoolander, GS, and Baker to pass the finish line. And in fact, they all have now. And that's the race over. And McJammy's won again. With some really good battles through both races, up and down the field. Data gets driver of the day. A fair effort from Data. He was the only driver to have to do the 2-stop, but his hand was sort of forced starting on the hard tyres. That's all from us for tonight, guys. We'll see you for the next round, same time next week.